Hello, good morning and welcome to the business news on Sunrise. Coming up, cost of borrowing likely to go up as Bank of Ghana increases policy rate to 30%.
Ghana's macroeconomic framework requires decisive tightening from both the fiscal and monetary side to anchor inflation expectations firmly on a declining path.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Lord Mensah indicates the central bank must review its approach in tackling inflation.
The 50 basis point is more powerful or more weightier in terms of bringing price down than introduction of taxes.
Plus, hoteliers call for improved economic conditions for businesses to thrive.
We have high utility costs, water, now electricity and water is adjusted every quarter and it keeps going high.
I am Bismarck Ausa. Will bring you details of our headlines and many other stories shortly. Thanks for staying with us. To our very first story, interest on your existing bank loans as well as the cost of borrowing are likely to go up in the coming days. This is because the Bank of Ghana has increased the policy rate to 30% from 29.5%. The 50 basis points increase indicating, according to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, falls in line with the policy tightening stance proposed by the IMF and the marginal increase in the rate of inflation. Nana Mensah Abrampa has the details.
The central bank has since November 2022 increased the policy rate by 13%. The MPC's decision to increase the rate once again is on the back of the marginal increase in headline inflation from 42.2% in May to 42.5% in June.
The committee's assessment, risks to the inflation profile are judged to be elevated, driven by second-round effects of food prices. Ghana's macroeconomic framework requires decisive tightening from both the fiscal and monetary side to anchor inflation expectations firmly on a declining path. Given these considerations and under the current circumstances, the committee has decided to increase the monetary policy rate by 0.5% to 30%.
The BOG's decision to increase the rate also falls in line with the monetary policy tightening stance proposed by the IMF. This suggests that interest on loans to the private sector is expected to also increase marginally. On the Gold for Oil program, Governor Ernest Addison said the program will soon witness some stability despite concerns raised by the IMF on its exposure.
So as things normalize, we think that the gold for oil would also gradually sort of stabilize. The IMF did not say we should completely exit that policy. The only issue that came up was our exposure, to ensure that we don't increase our exposure further to the gold for oil policy.
For the central bank, it will continue to adopt policy tightening measures until it gets to the preferred bandwidth of the committee. For 3 Business, Nana Mensah Abrampa, Bank of Ghana.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Lord Mensah has indicated that the central bank must review its approach in tackling inflation in the country as the current strategy of the hike in policy rate has failed in checking the phenomenon.
Government is also looking out for revenue enhancement through the IMF program. As a result of that, increases taxes or possibly introduce new taxes. That is going to affect, prices as well. So while the policy rate is trying to arrest, inflation or to bring it down, the taxes are going to pass through increasing prices to the market. So there's going to be that kind of a stalemate, in our, economic policies. That is why I'm saying that the policy rate alone cannot serve its purpose of controlling prices if it does not consider, the activities on the fiscal side. I believe that the 50% or the 50 basis point is more powerful or more weightier in terms of bringing price down than introduction of taxes or repackaging of taxes that we're going to witness in the mid-year budget review.
Still on inflation, and government has been urged to commit to fiscal discipline as a tool in managing the situation. Some economists have observed the Bank of Ghana's over-reliance on monetary measures to tame inflation has not worked.
Director of Business Operations at Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, thinks Ghana's inflation is not expected to ease anytime soon.
This is Ghana. Rates have been persistently high. Our businesses are not driven by borrowing from the financial institutions. So monetary policy is not working. And so how are we, in the short term, we're not fighting inflation the right way.
Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, Dr. John Kwache, suggests the use of monetary and fiscal policies in managing inflation.
We rely on monetary policy framework that essentially focuses on controlling demand pressures in the economy. But what we have come to realize is that our inflation is also determined to a large extent by supply and cost factors. We've been talking about food, importance of fuel in driving our inflation, transportation, and then of course the exchange rate. So you cannot use the Bank of Ghana policy rate alone.
Besides the fiscal and monetary policies, an economist, Dr. Abuaji Debra, says an effective approach in managing inflation in Ghana is to add other stakeholders like ministries of agriculture, trade and industry, and transport, making inflation as part of their KPIs. He calls for the inflation targeting approach to be abandoned.
Current upward trend now, which is driven by food, where Ministry of Agric should be seen as an accountable source, because food accounts in terms of the CPI significant, and therefore in terms of KPIs, Ministry of Agric should be tasked. And that is where some of us, when we saw Plan for Food and Jobs, we thought there was the need to have that in terms of KPI.
That was a report by my colleague Eben Ejekumbuaten. Now, ahead of the mid-year budget review, the Ghana Hotels Association is calling on the government to improve the economic situation in the country. According to the president of the association, Dr. Edward Akanyameke, this is crucial to ensure businesses in the hospitality sector remain profitable. He spoke to the media on the sidelines of his outfit's third National Executive Council meeting.
The country is becoming more and more attractive. We have the December in GH and several other programs which is bringing in people. So those activities will certainly tell on the numbers of people coming to the system. Now, when they come in, and that is where some of the challenges come in, because then the hotels are hosting them, we have high taxes, we have high utility costs, water, now electricity and water, it's adjusted every quarter. And it keeps going high. With the high lending rates and then the cost of doing business in general, our workers are expecting more salaries because the environment itself is harsh and all that. That one too is another aspect which affects our business. And what it means that, so we may be bringing in the numbers to tell on the number of visitors that are coming. However, when we do the actual business mathematics, you see that your profit margin is very small, or you may not even make profit.
You just heard President of the Ghana Hotels Association, Dr. Edward Akanyameke. Remember, you are still listening to the business news on Sunrise. Moving to other stories, government has been admonished to resist the temptation on introducing any new tax within the energy sector during the mid-year budget presentation in Parliament. According to energy strategist and chief executive of Eureka, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, any such move by government will slow consumer spending and impede economic recovery.
So, as much as I don't expect taxes to be removed, so that would have been my preference, I also expect that there shouldn't be any new taxes at this minute in time, especially with respect to the energy sector. I mean, the price build-up should be as it is. If there's anything that we need to do, we should be thinking about removing taxes, but not to increase more taxes. We should be aware of this. A budget should be able to give assurances, like I mentioned, of potential economic growth. It should be able to propel economic growth. And so if cost of energy becomes very expensive, as a result of too many taxes on energy bills, it does impede economic growth.
Now to another interesting story. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has described the practice whereby some individuals keep large volumes of foreign currencies, especially dollars, in their homes as worrying to the central bank. He was responding to a question on the reported stolen large volumes of money in both local and foreign currencies from the former Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Honorable Cecilia Dapaah.
First question that you asked, yes, we are all worried, but really, this is a matter that is still unfolding and involving the court, so there's not much that one can say.
Now, before we go, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some key commodities are faring on the global market.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar recorded no price change, selling at 11 cedis. The British pound also recorded no price change, and it's selling at 14 cedis, 1 pesewa. The euro is selling at 12 cedis, 2 pesewas. It's recorded no price change. However, be guided that these figures will be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, price of cocoa is up by 0.06%, selling at $3,417 per ton. Price of Brent crude oil is up by 2.22%, selling now at about $83 per barrel, while the price of an ounce of gold is down by 0.36%, selling at about $1,955.
And that was an update from the commodities and forex markets, ending the business news on Sunrise. You can log on to 3news.com for more business stories. Sports is up next, and thank you for listening.
Passengers at Neighbor Cecilia.
Driver, you can't do this in London.
Oh, 1 minute, why? Shell,
Driver, what's all this about?
Oh, madam, help me say thank you to Shell. Because I'm a member of the Shell Club, I get loyalty points every time I buy fuels that I use to redeem gifts I love. Third-party insurance for my car, free medical insurance, and many more. Shell day my side. In fact, when I see another Shell station, I will hug everyone there.
Hey, driver, what do you fire Kwanzaa?
Hey, English, madam.
Enjoy numerous benefits when you buy fuel from Shell. Get loyalty points to claim third-party car insurance, family medical cover, provisions, and many more for free. Driver, Shell day your side. Go well.
Hello? Yeah, is it true that your Adansia 10 Dubai trip on chartered Emirates flight is sold out?
Yeah, you heard right. All 250 seats to Dubai on 10th August are fully booked, but all hope is not lost. There are a few more seats on Emirates for 13th and 15th August departing to Dubai, with the rates starting at only $1,650.
Huh, great. I can't miss out on this fun trip. Are there any other combo trips?
Yes, we have few seats available on below exciting combo trips. Nairobi and Dubai with Dorinando, Kigali and Dubai with George Quay, South Africa, Victoria Falls and Livingstone with Lexus Bill, Singapore, Bali and Malaysia cruise with Kwame Daze.
Wait, how do I book now?
Just send hi to the WhatsApp number 0593 857 002 or call 0556 310 404 or visit AdansiTravels.com. All bookings from now till 25th July will get free pass to Adansi at 10 Gala Dinner in Accra.
Awesome.
It's a vibe.
A bank that supports you. A bank that cares for you. Hand in hand, we stand with you. So lift your head up. Big dreams are waiting. We'll walk with you wherever you go. Where all your dreams come alive. CBG will make you smile. We will rise with you. Your business will flourish. Your name will stand out. Something like CBG. We stand
The mayor passing was in social. Now Aka University Papa Menyamao and one Heritage Christian University College. Yeah, what Amasama Stadium Nechi. Very serene environment for studies. Again, my heritage Ayasum. 860 a Christ Center University 24/7 Wi-Fi internet for students. Hostel facility. 860 body shop for mobile entrepreneurs and also ready for job markets. What breast students need their own business ideas. Sika Ama will be one Castle Numa and to baby school. Now a business owners and a laptop. Really programs Ben Wayo. BBA accounting with computing, marketing, human resource management, information technology management, BSc information technology, and information security. Osaya BSc nursing and a Bachelor of Theology. Wow! Mature students 25 years and above. And to me apply after WASI, SSC, GBC, HND Lunina. 860 is also running 12-month specialized master's degree program. MSc Accounting and Taxation, Accounting and Finance, MSc Human Resource Management. Accredited by Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, affiliated to KNUST and the UCC. From 020-229-8399.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Sports on 3FM 92.7. My name is Kelvin Owusu-Ansah. Let's start our morning sports from the camp of Nordjylland FC, and Ernest Nuamah has left off where he finished the season in the Danish Super League, and now he scored a hat-trick in the first league game as FC Nordjylland came from behind to stand Viborg 4-1 at home in the Super League. And Nordjylland fell behind in the 10th minute when Matt Sondergaard took the lead for the visitors, ranked as the most valuable under 21 player in Europe by CIES. Nuamah struck a hat-trick to help his team defeat Viborg by 4-1. Roy Kampofo shares the latest development of the youngster who has become a hot cake for some of the top clubs in Europe.
And a lot will depend on the player as to where he wants to go as well. There also offers from all the way on Netherlands, Ajax and all that. Quite a number of clubs have expressed interest in the player. And so for Nordjylland, they hold the bargaining power. And for the player to come out and score a hat-trick in his first game of the season only gives them more armory on the negotiation table. And for a club that are willingly set out to sell, I think that's a good thing for them. If you look at the recent studies conducted by CIES, Ernest Nuamah was ranked as the most valuable under 21 left winger outside Europe's top 5 leagues, and his value was around 15 million. I think Nordjylland would believe that they can make a little bit more than that, and this hat-trick does go on to show that. I believe that he would be sold and would move on this summer. As to whether it would be that 50 million CIES code, I'm not too sure about that. I think it would require a little bit more because of the interest that a number of clubs do have.
Well, thank you so much. That was Oreko Ampo for speaking about Ernest Nuamah and his blistering start to the season. Now to former Hearts-of-Oak coach Samuel Boadu, and he has denied reports of joining second division side Cornerstone Football Club on Monday. The Kumasi-based side, who in the quest to revive their glory in the past, expressed their joy in securing the services of Boadu in a tweet. They also clarified that the plan was to release Boadu at any point the coach desired to when the chance presented itself for a bigger opportunity. After his recent engagement with the Black Satellites in the WAFU Zone B and the 20 Championship, this would have been the next engagement at club level for Samuel Boadu, but he has refuted claims that he has signed a contract to become the new head coach in an interview with Kesben Media. Now, Samuel Boadu parted ways with Hearts-of-Oak in September 2022, where he won the Ghana Premier League, the MTN FA Cup twice, the President's Cup, and the Ghana Super Cup. Now, staying with Hearts-of-Oak, and Kwadwo Jr. has signed a one-year contract extension with the Phobians. The new deal ties the attacker down until the end of the 2023 2024 season. Obin Jr. joined the team in 2018 and was linked with a move away from the Phobians after a difficult campaign last season where he scored only 3 goals in as many games as more than 15. So that is the latest there from Accra Heart to Folk. Now more on the local scene, and Aniela Alote, my colleague here at 3 Sports, wants to see more of the clubs in Ghana elevating their standards to attract the energy of the football fans, which is evident. Now she's happy that accountability from Kotoko, as informed by Otumfuo, where the departing management and board will go a long way to making the right policies onwards.
I mean, everybody was happy that Midiama were able to break away, but on paper, it didn't really look that good because the quality of all the other clubs had diminished. And that's exactly what's happening to Kotoko. I mean, I wasn't born in the 70s or 80s, but even having been born in the 90s, you hear stories of how great they were competing for African titles, doing it so big. And then you're wondering, is that the same crop or is that the same, institution that you're seeing here? And then it gets a little worrisome. On the topic of the fans, we have hosted Warmer Plus different episodes. We've seen the passion that comes there. And it's not even just on the set in itself, but on social media, when we get interacting, a lot of people are interested in the club and are interested in seeing the club go as far as they can. But I think that a lot boils down to seeing the progress that can be made. People don't want to be buying tickets when they know that they can just stand on the fences and sneak in and everything will still remain the same. If they were actually paying for the tickets and seeing the results, maybe better facilities, you're getting like much more quality with your football, even just fan engagement and there are different activities that you can partake in. I think people will be encouraged more to be giving back to football for the returns that they would enjoy. I'm happy that the Otumfuo has taken like this step. Like Kelvin was saying, it's quite a novel situation, but I think that part of solving the problem is being able to identify the problem in itself. So if you are being transparent and holding people accountable, you are laying out the score sheets, making it very clear that this is how much we owe, this is how much we are likely to get. If we don't get it, it's still a case of probabilities, but at least what we have so far, if we're able to channel it into the right projects. I don't think I agree with the piecemeal approach. Maybe you have like 500,000, whatever it is, put it into this, put it into this. You are not helping anything. You'll be able to complete absolutely nothing. I think it makes more sense to direct it towards a few projects. If it's 1 or 2 that you are working towards in anticipation of whatever it is you are going to receive.
So in Kotoko's case, like the training pitch?
Exactly. And I mean, he's gone to inspect some of the grounds and things of the sort. If we are putting into that, then that works, because a lot of the things that affect the playing body are the structures in itself, like Kelvin had said. A lot of people will be talking, there may be some differences within the camp. It would affect the training body, it would affect the team that is playing the game itself. But also with the structures, if you are not training properly, come on. What exactly are you going to do on the field? And that brings us exactly back to Reku's point, that the quality has diminished. How do you lose the number of games that he says, you lose and then you are still going to end up winning the league? It's because you are not facing as tough competition.
So that was from Aniela, but for Joel Bote, instinctive decisions, which is not scientifically proven to run in clubs across the world, has been the greatest bane of Ghanaian football clubs. He hopes that they resolve that in the upcoming season.
You look at what House of Folk did last season, and I would not be surprised if things completely change next season with House of Folk. All of a sudden they go down, they don't look like a club that is serious. That's after Samuel Wedu had left. Everything just looked like a mess. It tells you there's no structure, there's no direction. Everybody's making decisions based on what they feel. And that is what is happening in almost every club. And not to even talk of the fans, the finances, but just the way we approach it is the problem for me. If I am approaching something like the Ghana Premier League, it is now that we are trying to have the website. If I want information, data is key in this world right now. If I want information on the Ghana Premier League and I can't find it, trust me, would you go looking for anything from there? No. So it's for me, this is the problem that I had. And great work by Midiama. They've been able to win the league, but I hope that they do something with what they have now. They're able to progress. As for the guys that have been there and have won it, I'm hoping that they also make something out of what they have at the moment and become better. Haas now has money, thanks to World Cup money, but we all know it won't be enough.
No, but the World Cup money.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be enough. But the thing is, if you are able to structure that money well and say, okay, I am not going to use 100% of that money to clear debt, but rather I am going to place it in various forms. That way you will be able to develop all around it by starting something. And that is what is most important. For me, education and infrastructure for Ghana Premier League clubs is what we need to even kickstart anything.
Yeah.
So if we don't get that in place at the moment, we're not going anywhere.
Well, Joel Botte there, yes, speaking about the things that Ghanaian football clubs need to do. Now, moving away from that, Fulham are likely to sign either Nigeria's Calvin Chinedu Bassey or Ghana's Mohamed Salisu. Now, the cottages are leaning towards the centre-back Mohamed Salisu, who felt out of favour. Southampton in the final weeks of last season will be keen to maintain in a Premier League status, but no final decision has been made yet. Here is Tim Thornton.
This is an interesting one because an agreement has been reached in principle with Bassey for £18 million from Ajax, but they are also interested in Mohamed Salisu from Southampton. It's our understanding they will only sign one of those two players. Fulham close to an agreement with Southampton for Salisu for £15 million, and one source has told Sky Sports News that Fulham are leaning towards Salisu, but no final decision has been made yet, and personal terms could well be a factor.
Well, personal terms could be a factor in there. Now, Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal have been given permission to speak to Kylian Mbappe after making a world record £259 million bid for the Paris Saint-Germain forward. The 24-year-old France captain, who has a year left on his contract, has refused to sign an extension at the French champions and was not selected for their pre-season tour to Japan. Now, PSG want to sell Mbappe now rather than see him leave for free next summer. Neymar's £200 million move from Barcelona to PSG in 2017 is the current record. The Suns' Charlie Watt currently discusses Al Hilal's record bid for Kylian Mbappe and the rapid rise of Saudi Arabian football.
Fascinating story, isn't it? And one with quite a few sort of strands and subplots, and it all goes back to the fact that basically Mbappe has a year left on his contract. PSG firmly believe he's agreed a deal to go to Real Madrid next season on a free, and now they've accepted this colossal bid from Saudi Arabia, and it quite clearly they're hoping that it's going to flush a few other clubs as well, maybe from the Premier League, or I'm not sure. Certainly the likes of Man United and Chelsea are going to go there. But it's an incredible story. And the whole Saudi Arabia phenomenon since Cristiano Ronaldo went there in January, at first we just thought it was a bit of posturing, but it clearly isn't. It's unbelievable what's going on there and the amount of players they're trying to sign.
Well, so that is the latest in there, but moving on and staying with more transfer stories. Brighton's Moises Caicedo has been on the books of Chelsea. He wants to join the Blues, but there is still a significant gap in valuation between the two clubs. Damesh Shirt gives a bit more on that.
It's very, very, very slow indeed. It's clear that Chelsea still want to sign the Brighton midfielder, Moises Caicedo, but this deal is a really, really difficult one to do. Caicedo, we are told, wants to make that move to Chelsea. Personal terms not expected to be a problem. Brighton actually played Chelsea on Saturday in Philadelphia. Moises Caicedo was not part of that Brighton squad for that game. We do know that there is quite a big gap in valuation. Brighton's asking price might just have shifted given what's happened in this transfer window. If before the window opened we were thinking maybe 70, 80 million pounds might get a deal done, they've seen Declan Rice go from West Ham United to Arsenal for 100 rising to 105 million pounds. And I think Brighton's attitude is, if Declan Rice is worth that much, this is how much Moises Caicedo is worth. So this is where we are going to start our valuation. Chelsea don't want to pay that. Chelsea had a bid rejected of around 70 million, which, okay, if that's too low, that's probably their starting point. But to go from 70 to Declan Rice type of money, that is a huge gap to make up. So I'm told that Chelsea will remain disciplined with regard to how they approach this deal. They're comfortable with how they're approaching this deal. They're comfortable with the bids that they've made so far. Is it going to happen? It's up in the air.
Well, so let's take a look at Borussia Dortmund, and they've signed Marcel Sabitzer from Bundesliga rivals Bayern Munich. The 29-year-old Austrian international has joined Dortmund on a contract until the 30th of June 2027. He had a short stint on loan at Manchester United last season after signing for the Old Trafford club in January. Now, AC Milan have also already closed the deal with Villarreal for Samuel Chukwueze. According to Sky Sports Italia, his contract with Villarreal was due to expire the end of the current campaign, and the deal is believed to be done for 20 million euros plus another 8 million euros in various performance-related clauses. Chukwueze is set to put pen to paper on a 5-year contract. Now to the Women's World Cup, and yesterday Germany began their campaign with a 6-0 victory over Morocco. Alexander Popp scoring twice. Now Germany will face Colombia in their second group game in strong position, while Morocco face South Korea next, hoping to pick up their first points at this year's Women's World Cup. Now Brazil also started on a very high note as Ari Borges scored the first hat-trick of this World Cup as they defeated Panama by 4-0. Martha came off the bench to get some minutes but couldn't get her name on the score sheet. Now France also were held by Jamaica and would need to place themselves strongly to qualify. Italy also stunned Argentina by 1-0. Let's have a quick look at the results for today. New Zealand have lost to Philippines, and that goal came on in the first half from Bowden. So Philippines have their first 3 points of the campaign. At 8 a.m., Switzerland play against Norway, but earlier Colombia defeated South Korea by 2-0. That'll be all for sports. My name is Kelvin Oswald. I'll be back with a lot more later on The Drive and Hot Edition. Sunrise continues. Stay tuned.